All right, folks. I'm Shabby. I'm over here working on this beautiful ship that I just bought in Fort Myers Beach that hopefully Sherry is going to come and speak at in December if she doesn't win. Learned how to operate the classes yet, so listen, I want to give pain class. My name is Michel J. Lazell. Okay, they call me the mind mechanic. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I wrote a book that obviously nobody ever reads because there's the whole thing in there about pain management and the way the brain handles pain. Quit believing what they've told you, people, that there is any such thing as chronic pain. It's BS, okay? They tell you this to sell you drugs. My mother was a doctor for Eli Lilly, okay? And I can tell you, there's no such thing as chronic pain, all right? Now, bear with me because a lot of people are going to go, BS. Okay, Mike, Mr. Mind Mechanic, 40 years experience, but I'm going to tell you a few anecdotal stories here that I will put the people online to back up and show you, okay, that I know what I'm talking about. And sorry, the glasses, it's sun's coming up over the horizon. And I have ALS, so I shake. So if you're wondering why it's not steady, I'm not using my thing. I'll switch to the glasses view here so you can see the beautiful morning show. But I really want people to understand this, okay? I go into hospitals all the time. I turn cancer patients that are in their last, that what they do is called a lollipop, all right? And the families don't want them to live their last days in this, like, stupor that they give them so many drugs. And I simply go in, I say, listen, if you can get them off to where they can have a conversation with me, then I will literally, they don't know how I do it. And it doesn't really matter if they know how I do it. It explains it in the book. Okay. Yes, I have 40 years experience. People say, oh, there's nothing special about me other than this. I have the same gray matter up here. Okay. That you have in your minds. You're not trained to use it. My book tries to train you how to use all this. Okay? And I'm not trying to sell my book because I do this for people for free all the time. But this is what bugs me. I just watched the whole thing on pain. My family members in chronic pain. It'll always be that way. No, it's not. Okay? Pain doesn't exist in the body, folks. It's a signal. Sherry's right. Until it gets to your mind up here, okay? And there's a specific part in your brain that is responsible for mapping pain, all right? And I'm about to prove that to you because anybody ever heard of phantom pains? I get called to the VA all the time because there's a guy without a leg and it itches, okay? Or he has severe pain in his leg. Now, how can a limb that is no longer there, and my hair is crazy, I know, I've got, all right, I've been out here working for 52 days and I haven't had a haircut. I'm sweating in the sun, but I'm stopping, okay, my valuable time to let you all know this. Please, I'm not being arrogant. I want you to hear what I'm saying, all right? Firsthand experience. In Las Vegas, where my daughter has been to the hospital many times. One time with a broken rib, a punctured lung, okay, because they're accident prone. And I go over to Spring Valley Hospital. And I pull up in the limo and I take my daughter out and they're like, why is she passed out? I'm like, she's not. I'm a hypnotist. I have her in a state where she's not experiencing, any direct pain, just like they would for anesthesia or whatever. But I don't need the anesthesia. Okay. So the lady rolls her eyes at me and I said, oh, non-believer. I said, watch this. 1, 2, 3, fully awake. My daughter wakes up screaming bloody murder. I went 1, 2, 3 asleep. She goes back out. Okay. We go into the triage room. We're sitting in there. There's a guy in the bed next to us that thinks he's having a heart attack, and I think he probably was. And when the doctor asked him, well, what's your pain level out of 1 to 10? And he goes, 10, 10. Well, guess what? Where do you think that number comes from? Okay? It's the part of your mind that is responsible for creating the pain response. And there's a reason you can put a number on it. Now, simple pain management, I walked over to him while my daughter was asleep in no pain. And he goes, sir, can you help me? And the doctor goes, you can't treat my patient. I said, Doc, I'm not going to treat anybody. I'm going to have a conversation with him. Last time I checked, there's no rule or law against that. Okay? I don't need an MD license. They want me to get all these psychology. I don't need all that bullshit. I've never needed it. So that I can throw it out just like Richard Bandler did and said, oh, here, let me tell you something, guys. I don't have degree 1. I have 43,000 hours in my lifetime. When these guys come, you don't have a psychologist, don't need one. Okay? You are nothing but patterns. Okay, it's your software. Your brain is the hardware. I teach you how to rearrange the software. And let me tell you the statistics, because I'm also a neuroscientist of 40 years. I talk with Huberman every day. I talk with Stanford. Okay, I'm giving you my credentials because I'm telling you, I never stop learning. I deal with the brain centers. I deal with NIH Health. I spend about 3 to 5 hours a day constantly learning, constantly refining my craft. Okay, you think you can't be hypnotized? Come see me. I'll show you. No such thing. It's a natural state you go in and out of all the time. A hypnotist just knows how to get to it. That's it. Now, the things you can do with that state, okay, and NLP. And Sherry knows this as well. What's his name? A big guru guy. Come on, Anthony Robbins. And I took NLP from Dr. Richard Bandler here in Florida about 35 years ago, I think it was. Okay, same class. Now, he teaches a little bit differently, but he just put out an article that says almost everything I do is NLP-based techniques, guys. We all package it differently, okay? But what I have done that the others haven't is I've spent 40 years saying, what are the mechanisms in here that relate to pain? What's the mechanism and there's no such thing as an anxiety disorder. You don't believe? Go to my site, MikeLazell.com, read Shelby Pain. I performed on the Strip for 20 years, okay? There's this lady, I've done hundreds and hundreds of shows, talk shows, this, that, and the other. I never forget, I think it was Ricky Lake back in the 80s or something, where this neurosurgeon gets on there and this lady was addicted to Pepsi, right? And he drills her head open. He puts electrodes in her brain and says, think about a Pepsi. When she couldn't say the word Pepsi, he left the electrodes there. He put a little monitor in her brain and, oh my God, her Pepsi addiction went away. I was appalled. And he, no offense to the neurosurgeon, he was a good surgeon, but I'm like, okay, how many people here in the audience want to have their skull opened up so they can get rid of a simple pattern that they've developed? Or would you like the mind mechanic to solve it in about 15 minutes? A bunch of hands went up, and then I showed them a bunch of demonstrable fears and patterns that we could change, not in days, guys, not in hours, not in years of psychology. They want to tell you that's, you know what, if you have to see me more than once or twice, I tell everybody, I'm not doing my job, okay? But let me tell you this. My assistant, who I've had for the last 15 years, her name's Kristen Cordry. Look her up, okay? She will tell you. You know what a cerclage is? Okay? Same hospital, Spring Valley. She had a cerclage put in because I was out, on tour and doing my speaking and this, that, and the other. Very painful. They have to give them basically she had 3/4 of her cervix missing. Okay? Women know that's painful. All right? So she goes in and the baby's being told she couldn't get pregnant, because she'd had cervical cancer, had most of her cervix removed, okay? It's going to be a long video, I'm sorry, but I want people to understand the depth of my experience with, so when people say, oh, no, it's chronic pain, why I laugh. Because they want you to buy drugs. They want to put drugs into you, because this right here has the ability to shut off pain, okay? Period. I do it for myself. I do it for late cancer patients, all right? I do it for people that, there's a thing called emotional transfer of pain, okay? You can have an emotional event, and I'll tell you an anecdotal story that actually happened to me and my second wife, Lenka, when I was watching her dog, and I took it to the dog park, and it was a fireman that had an injury 30 years ago. Couldn't lift his arm like this. He's trying to throw the ball for the dog. And I said, why are you doing that, right? And he goes, well, my shoulder was crushed 30 years ago. And I said, well, that's great. That's horrible. Is there any nerve damage? Well, no, they can't find anything. Why can't you lift your arm? I don't know. They can't find anything. I said, well, isn't that amazing? They can't find anything. You can't lift your arm. Does it hurt? He goes, Never really thought about it. I just can't lift my arm. And it's just me and him at the dog park. And he goes, well, you don't belong to that dog. And I said, no, it's my wife Linka's, and she's out in Florida. Oh, okay. Oh, you're the hypnotist guy. I said, well, yeah, that's one thing I use, but I like to call, I said, mind mechanic is what they call me. I said, because that's what I teach. How you can use the mechanisms in this head to do almost anything you want to do in your life, guys. Anything. Okay? That's what Sherry's trying to tell you. All you got to do is correct the programming. And guess what? They have filled you with precognitive limiting beliefs that literally limit, okay, and degrade your life. And I literally mean those words. And that's what I go around. I will keep till the day I drop dead teaching what I teach, because I want people to realize that they don't want us to know the power that's up here. All right? Because it puts a lot of people out of business. All right? I have ALS, 30 years. Okay? I have, see this? Hodgkin's lymphoma. They told me it would kill me 15 years ago. No drugs, no chemo, no radiation. How am I still here? Two of my uncles died from ALS. Okay? Because I use a visualization every single night. And I'll tell you about that later if anybody's interested. That has kept ALS at bay for 30 years. Okay? Period. Doesn't progress. I have tremors in my hands. Okay? It's a little bit of a neuron misfire. Me and it's come to terms. Me and this little guy over here has come to terms. He don't get no bigger. I'll let them exist. Okay? Because my mom also was a cancer doctor. She's one that developed human insulin. All right, for Eli Lilly. She was one of 3 doctors, and I used to go into her lab all the time, and kind of bothered me because I saw the cats with the electrodes and all that, so I didn't really want to go back because I'm an animal lover. But let me tell you this, okay? Just like when I get called to the VA, and that man doesn't have a leg, but yet, and it's real simple. You know what I do to him? I put him in a light trance, and I'm not even talking hypnosis. I just say, sir, look at me. I said, you can still see your leg, can't you? And he goes, well, yeah, kind of. I know where it's at. I said, how do you know that? He goes, well, I know they took it because there's a part in your brain that maps every inch of your extremities, okay? This is the mechanism they don't tell you about. You can use it to your advantage, okay? And this is why when you get asked, it's that same part that when they say, well, sorry about the shakes, guys, but when they say, that's normally why I use a tripod. I laugh at them because you know what? Laughter's the best medicine. Love's the best medicine. ALS doesn't have me. I have it, okay? I have had it stone cold for 30 years. All right, folks. I'm shabby. I'm over.